use tools like V0 and you see it generating an app, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing. When LLMs are outputting 50,000 tokens a second, it's going to completely change the way that we think about application development. SEO is so important right now, and very soon, we're not going to talk about SEO anymore.
Is the web the best way for an agent, like an AI agent, to use and interact with data? And so what are your thoughts on that? And what do you think that the web is going to play a part in with this new age of AI?
Yeah, a lot of things are going to change, right? So the first thing I talk about a lot is right now you use tools like V0 and you see it generating an app, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing. But practically speaking, it could be faster, right? Like when LLMs are outputting things, it's kind of streaming things to you. When LLMs are outputting 50,000 tokens a second, right, which we're going to get there someday, it's going to completely change the way that we think about application development and deployment. And so I'm very interested in seeing how behavior changes when you're not just using LLMs as a developer tool, but also in the loop between you and the end customer, whoever the customer is. So that's kind of one piece that I think is going to be really interesting to track. The next thing, though, is like we need to build all of the primitives to support both developing net new agents who are going to do things, and also for those agents to be able to consume things. And consuming things via an interface that was developed for humans is pretty inefficient.
Yeah.
The agents are going to want to just access the value, access the information directly.
They don't want to click a button, scroll down, and all the other stuff.
Browser use is going to be here for a very long time. It's going to be very important. And, we're going to have to click around in interfaces in an automated way, sure. And we also need to provide a better experience for agents to just directly access the information they need and to still derive value. So for you to derive value and for them to get what they need. So there's going to be a massive shift in sort of marketplaces and in traffic shaping. And, SEO is so important right now. And very soon, we're not going to talk about SEO anymore because everybody is going to get to your experience. If it's a human, they're going to get to your experience via ChatGPT. If it's an LLM, they're going to get to your experience via, just direct access. So indexing and et cetera. So
I think an interesting way of how that might present itself is at a recent hackathon, I can't remember which one it was, but Reese and Ethan Nizer did a project where basically
here today.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, we just had Reese.
That's awesome.
Where, like, let's say, for example, NextDev.fm, you go to the website on a browser that presents you with the web interface. But in their demo, they made it so that way it was like an alternative transport where if an agent were to go to it, it would just see the MCP functions.
Yeah.
And I think we got to stop thinking about how NextDev.fm or Vercel.com is a website, but it's an endpoint and it's a way that you can interact with things. So like if an agent had a way, like a agent browser or something like that to be able to view data or endpoints and stuff like that, instead of actually going and browsing, it's an alternate transport, and that would speed it up.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a chicken and egg problem here. Right now, SEO is still important, even if it's becoming less important. And if you were to offer Googlebot a different experience than normal users, Google will downrank you.
Yeah.
And therefore, you can't actually enable what you just described, which is like, okay, if I see an agent come, I want to give them this sort of different optimized experience, because then you will lose out on your SEO. But once your SEO doesn't matter anymore, of course you can do this. Yeah. So it's going to take some companies kind of really leaning into this and saying, look, we are giving up SEO. We don't care about search engine traffic anymore. We only care about agentic, what are we calling it? Generative engine optimization, agentic.
LEO.
LEO.
LLM engine optimization. Because GEO kind of sounds like geo, like for geographic, and like GIS.
LEO, man.
Leo.
Great. Leo.
Yeah.
So once somebody takes the sort of plunge and says, I only care about this now, I'm going to give up that, and it's going to be a short-term hit, but I'm going to get ahead of the curve. Now you will start to see this dual deployment. And guess what? Depending on the framework you're using and the managed infrastructure you're using, this might literally be click a button, or don't click a button. We'll just do it for you automatically.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, I'm very, very optimistic about that. I think this is going to accelerate a lot, but
there needs to be like that Facebook moving to React moment where someone drops SEO and moves to LEO or anything like that, where they just, they take the initiative, and if it sucks, it sucks, but most people will follow in suite.
Yeah.
I can totally see this actually being a thing that is going to happen like in a few years from now.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting prediction.
Maybe very soon.
Yeah. In that vision projection of what the web is going to look like a few years from now, where does MCP play in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, broad strokes, I think this is the way that we get LLMs to be able to take actions, right?
Yeah.
This is APIs for LLMs, overly reductive, but you have to be able to do things in other places. This is your connector into that world. I like that some companies are very well set up to build MCPs for their existing ecosystem of integrations. Think of Zapier and those like it. I mean, the MCP for Zapier is like not like one thing, it's hundreds of things.
Yep.
But yeah, just the sort of the seam in between the LLM and the rest of the world.
I was doing a demo actually the other day with Zapier MCP to just showcase how simple it is to set up like a voice assistant via Vapi with like incredibly low effort and get it going ASAP. So what I did is I went to Zapier MCP. It was like a 2-minute timed demo.
Yeah.
Zapier MCP, set up MCP server sent events, connected to Google Docs, and then I called in and asked it to take some notes for me, and it did. 2 minutes. I built the entire thing in 2 minutes. Yeah. It's incredible.
The best is going to like outside of Silicon Valley and like showing your family and friends these demos, and you're like, look at what I can do, and they're like, what? It's magic, right? Any sufficiently advanced technologies that indistinguishable from magic.
It's so funny because the 11 Labs voice cloning, and I don't know if you've seen like the conversational AI. I cloned my voice on 11 Labs, which I probably need to delete. But then I called the number and I gave the phone to my parents, and I was like, hey, I think you're getting a call or something like that. And they picked up and it sounded just like me. And they're like,
what's happening?
What in the world, So, but yeah.
We have a customer called Suno.ai.
Yeah, I know.
I use it every time I go visit family. Give me a topic and a style, and I'm going to make you a song with AI. And it just blows their mind. I had to literally, after that, I did this most recently with my wife's family, and her aunt was like, you have to send me that song. I love it. And she still listens to that song.
Too funny.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah.
That's perfect.